What in the hell happened with CCIV stock today? Down 8.18% in regular trading, only up 0.59% in after hours trading. Something is going on. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and mainly this is revolving around this shareholder call and what was said on this shareholder call. So I think it's very important we go over this, as well as we will be going over the institutional owners and hedge funds that are buying CCIV stock for much higher than we are actually at right now, at about $23.93. So they have been buying this way higher. We have to talk about it. Pretty much none of them have been selling out of their positions in CCIV since late May. So I think that's very important to go over. We're also going to go over the Ortex data, give you guys my position rundown because I am still in some of my options trades. I really have no plans on selling these, but I have some additional trades that I do want to run by you guys, give you guys the insight of what I'm thinking and what I expect is going to happen with CCIV stock, as well as go over a little bit of charting, but not too much in this video. So let's get to it. Hit that like button for me. Consider subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. And first things first, let's go over the Ortex data and see what this is saying. And as you guys do know, especially if you are invested in stocks like AMC in specifics, you know that the Ortex data has been kind of off lately. So it's hard to tell if this is the accurate numbers, since they do have the short interest going down about 4% since the last updated video. But we're going to give you guys this information anyways, because I think it can be a general insight into what is going on. Take this with a grain of salt. I think these numbers are probably much higher, but the short interest change for the day is positive 0.24%. Return shares 1.22 million, borrowed shares 1.36 million. So that is a net gain to the total shares that are sold short of 137.9 thousand shares. Current short interest percentage of free float at 18.07%. Current shares that are sold short of 37.4 million, and relative to the volume that we are seeing, in between about 7 million on the low end per day and about 15 million on the high end per day, this is about 4.38 days to cover. So if all shorts wanted to cover, it would take about 3.30 or 4.38 days to cover all of these shares. So I do think we're highly likely to go through some form or another of a short squeeze, but that is only my expectations. Don't make trades based off of this. I'm not a financial advisor or a financial planner. I'm some random guy on YouTube. I hold no accountability. If you lose money investing in this stock, I will not lose money because I have a long-term horizon. I trade options on a regular basis. Don't hear this and trade just based off of what I say. Always do your own due diligence and come to your own conclusions. But something else I do want to keep you guys up to date on is the share utilization. If you guys don't know about this, this is essentially out of 100% of shares that could be sold short or lent out, how many of those have been sold short or lent out? We're at 99.87% of shares that are sold short or lent out already. So this is a very hard stock to borrow. So I really don't expect the short interest to go up too much. But even being, if these numbers are legit at 18.07%, that is 100% prime for a short squeeze. And as we do know, we have the vote date to actually merge into Lucid Motors on July 22nd, and the actual merging day, which is the next day, July 23rd. And I think those will be huge catalysts that will 100% send CCIV stock much higher. But that is pretty much everything you guys need to know as far as the Ortex data. Let's take a look at what was said over the shareholder call, or what really wasn't said over the shareholder call, because people were expecting some form of good news. And I guess this wasn't terrible news, but it's not the news people were expecting. So like I point out in the last video, we were either going to see a buy the rumors, sell the news kind of event, which it was looking like, and that was the direction I was leaning in, or we might get hit with a bombshell announcement like they're starting deliveries next week, couple weeks out, whatever the case is. But we did not get that. I'm going to read you guys what they said and what the most important parts that they said. So, says Lucid Motors Inc., an electric vehicle startup, remains on schedule to begin production and delivery of its debut electric vehicle, the Lucid Air, later this year. So they just said later this year. We already know this. They're projecting 553 deliveries of their vehicles, their most expensive vehicles, I believe 169,000 after the EV credit. But this was in line with everything that we did know. So that is why CCIV really did sell off. We didn't get any new announcements for the most part, but they did say Lucid Motors will merge with a special purpose acquisition company, Churchill Capital, to raise $4.4 billion in cash. Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund invested more than $1 billion in 2018. And they also said the company plans to use funds raised from the merger to expand its factory and add an assembly line for its second model, an electric SUV. Lucid Motors hopes to have 20 retail locations across the United States by the end of this year. And then they just talk about the actual price action of CCIV stock. So really nothing new. They pretty much reiterated everything we did know, and investors were looking for some kind of new information. I don't know if we would have actually rallied off of that. I think a lot of investors were hoping for a delivery date just like I was, so there was a bit of a disappointment when that did not happen, and I ultimately think that is why we are down about 8% for the day. Now, I do want to draw your guys' attention to the Fintel data, which is giving us an accurate representation of what institutional investors are buying and selling CCIV stock, and this is quite astonishing. So total institutional owners at 251, 222 are long only, 6 are short only, and 23 are long and short on the stock. 207 million total outstanding shares. Institutional shares are 32.2 million at 15.56% of the total company. So not a super large amount. I do expect this number to jump a lot once it does come down to the actual merger, because you're going to take a lot of risk off the table by investing in CCIV. If something were to happen and the actual vote doesn't go through, you would lose all your money down to $15 per share, because that is where the shares are backed at for the special purpose acquisition company, for CCIV itself. But take a look at some of these average costs that these funds are actually paying, guys. 26, 25, 26, 24, another 26, 27.50. Some of these, even down the list, are in the $30 range. A lot of them are in between about $20 and $27. Another good portion of them are in between about $16 and $18. So you're seeing a good mix, but most of the recent filings, obviously, they are in between that really $23 and $27 price point. So if these funds are willing to make these kind of large investments, I do think it's safe to say CCIV will perform great as a longer term investment, especially if these guys are willing to take on the risk of investing in a SPAC company. Then I think that's overall a positive sign. And all of these filings, all these right here, the first, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are from today alone, and those are all buys. 1, 2 of them, 3 of them not adding to their positions, keeping the same position, but 3 of them actually making new positions for a decent amount of shares a piece, about 10,000, 11,500, 110,000, 2 million. So there's decent amounts of shares being actually purchased, but for the most part, you're seeing these funds actually keeping their same positions or doubling down or adding to their positions. The last sell you've seen reflected in the filings of or hedge funds and institutional investors around CCIV stock was Radon Capital Management LP. That was May 21st. But still, you're not, I mean, you see a lot of selling out once you did get that last rally, but ever since then, you're seeing a lot of funds buying the stock as of recently, implying to me as well, we could be on the verge of seeing a big move, and maybe my thesis is correct about seeing this rally after the actual merger is completed. So that's really what I wanted to point out here, especially the prices that they are paying for these shares, because some of these guys paying $27, $25, even at $25, you stand to lose $10 per share if the merger doesn't go through. That's about 45% right off the top of your initial investment. And that's just too big a risk for a lot of people to take. That's why I don't think you're seeing as much buying going on. But once we do merge, that risk will be off the table. And some of these firms will be able to, not some of these, but some other firms that want to invest in CCIV will actually be able to. Now, let's talk about a little bit of technical analysis real quick for you guys. And we really should watch this level at about $22 per share. I think that's going to serve as a great support level if we break down to that level. Obviously, seen a really bad day today. I expect tomorrow is either going to be neutral or even go up a little bit in price. RSI, we're almost oversold. Nothing to be too concerned about right there. We're kind of range bound in between, like I said, $22 and almost $30, but I do expect to bounce back to about $25 in the near term future, where we did start the day today at about $25.37. So that is what I expect. I don't want to go too in depth about the technical analysis. We're still seeing super low volume, only 12.5 million for volume. So once we do see that volume start to increase, that's where you're going to see the share price actually start to increase as well, like we did see back here when we we hit almost $30 per share at almost 20 million in volume for the day, and that was June 30th. Now, I do want to talk about my overall position. Not too much has changed yet again here. 12.13% of my account. 161 shares, average cost $23.14. I'm up 3.39%, and I do have $3,853.73 in this stock, and I am so happy to be seeing this sell-off. I want to load up on CCIV shares. I want to get this position up and built out to about $50,000 within the next 2 to 3 years. I'm hoping I'll be able to do that just because from my projections, each share of CCIV should be worth about $400 by 2026. By the next 5 years out, they should be doing about $22 billion in revenue per year by 2026. And I do expect them to meet, if not exceed that, just because they're already seeing great pre-order numbers. And quite frankly, not very many people know about this vehicle. Once they see it on the street, once people start talking about it, making videos about it, whatever the case is, and get the brand out there and get the word out there, that's really where you're going to see a lot of this demand start to actually pick up. Now, as far as my options trade, I still have the same $30 CCIV call for August 20th, just one of them. I've been up and down on this so much. At one point, this was almost worth $400. I bought it at $191. So if you guys are in the buy and sell alerts, if you want to be in them and be notified when a trade is made, check that out for yourselves. I am not going to be the guy to tell you when to sell out. I can get you into these great trades. I can't tell you when to sell out, and that is not a recommendation as well. But you join a great community and will be notified in real time every time a trade is bought or sold, whether it's options, a day trade, swing trade, or even a long-term investment. But just as far as recently, July 12th, this was at almost $300. But like I said, at one point, I was up about 300% on this contract. So it would be your choice ultimately when to take your tendies. But I am not worried about this whatsoever because I made sure to get time for August 20th. And I think CCIV will go over $30 upon the actual merger. If it doesn't, then I lose the money. I'm not too concerned about it. I keep these trades small in case something like this does happen. If this trade was larger, I would have sold probably half, if not 60% at $400 and kept the rest as a free trade. So that is really how I like to trade in a nutshell. If you guys want to be part of the buy and sell alerts, check that out. Feel free to. It is very inexpensive and pays for itself in the end. But what my plan is for CCIV, obviously to start loading the boat on shares. I'm going to start buying as of tomorrow, but I really want to do basically sell a put. So when you sell a put, you're essentially agreeing to buy 100 shares at this price, whatever strike you choose to do this on. I like to go about 30 days out, so I would go to probably the August 20th expiration date. And like I said, I think CCIV stock will go up. So if you are selling a put, that is a bullish thing. And the only way you actually have to buy the shares is if CCIV, in this case, if I sold the $20 put, were to close under $20 by this expiration date. If it does not, obviously you keep this premium that you would collect, but to make this trade, you have to put up 100 shares worth at this strike price. So, $2,000 to make this trade, you would collect 155. So your actual cost on this, if you did have to buy these shares, would be $18.45. So it's a very great way to get a lower cost basis while also not fully agreeing to do this. You're not going out to buy the shares on the open market right away. You're essentially agreeing to, if the stock price does go down, if it goes up, you just keep this money free and clear. Once a contract does expire, your collateral will be released. You'll have your $2,000 back. But that is my next go-to strategy, just because I want to collect some free premium, but I also want to buy the shares as well. The only downside is you hold up this collateral. So with the $2,000, you couldn't do anything with it. Doesn't matter what happens. You could obviously buy the contract back and get out and take your collateral back, but I would only do that if I was up about 50% on this total premium right here. So if this dropped down to about $60, $70, I might think about doing that if there was something else I wanted to buy or make a trade on. But that is pretty much all for this video, guys. I really apologize for stuttering a couple times throughout this video because it is almost midnight. I want to get this information out to you guys as soon as possible because I think there's a huge trade here, and I want to keep you guys up to date and informed about CCIV and what is going on with this stock, especially after a down 8% day for the day. That kind of kicked you in the nuts. If you're trading this or even a long-term investor in this and have a big position, you're probably feeling a little ill looking at this for the day. So That's it for this video, guys. Hit that like button, consider subscribing to the channel, as well as comment down below. Let me know if you're invested in CCIV, if this is something you are watching, if you have trades, if you're a long-term investor in this, if you sold out. Let me know what you guys think about CCIV in the comment section, as well as if you guys want to get free stock, check out the link down below in the description for public. No deposit necessary, no need to link a bank account. Get up to $70 in your choice free stock in as little as 3 minutes time. You'll get your free stock. It is literally free money, as well as if you guys are not signed up with Webull, deposit $100, get 4 free stocks, each of them potentially worth up to $2,400. So those are great brokerages. Highly recommend both those. It's literally free money. And like I said, the buy and sell alerts, if you guys want to be notified in real time every time a trade is bought or sold, check that out. But that's all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.